I didn't know that every Shabbat isn't the Sabbath. Do a study on it. Like to learn more about it. Okay, Bryant. So let me do this here. Let me pull up the calendar again. So let's go to the first day of the year and the first month of the year. Okay. So Brian, the way this works, Brian, is it's based off the sun, what is called the spring equinox. Okay. And so we see here, the spring equinox normally happens on March 20th. You can see it down there. March 20th at the very bottom of that block underneath Exodus chapter 12 verse 2. Okay, so the spring equinox is that sign upon the earth, that we're told about in Jubilees chapter 2 verse 9. Let me pull that up for you real quick or show you in the Apocrypha in the book of Jubilees. So I'll put these over here. Let me open this up here, and then we'll go back to the calendar so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, we're told this. Well, this thing is really coming apart. I'm gonna have to tape all the pages. Okay, Jubilees chapter 2, verse 9, and it says, "And Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days and for Sabbaths," okay, which is what you're asking me about. How do we find the Sabbath? Well, it's connected to the sun. It is by the sun that we find it by this great sign. And this great sign happens once a year and it's called the spring equinox. So now it says it's for days on the earth, also for Sabbaths, also for our months, not the moon. The moon is not to be used. That's what we've been taught by our ancestors, and hence why we've gone astray to the true days of the days, the Sabbaths, and the months and the feast days. So it's the sun. Now the book of Enoch backs this up. So now we go to the book of Enoch, chapter 72, and notice what it says there. Open this up. Let me put my cradle back over here so I can use both hands. Okay, so Enoch chapter 72. Let me bring this down. And it talks about how at first there goes out of the great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and so it guides him to come to the appropriate portal and shines on the face of the heaven. In this way, he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the fourth of the sixth in the east. Okay. Now, when this happens, and we can go to the end of the cycle, which is right here, it says, "On that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. Okay, so this is when it comes all the way back around to what is called the eve of the spring equinox, because the 364th day is the very last day of the year. All right, now going back to here, it says on account of its sign, it happens 4 times a year. You have the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and then you have the winter solstice. Okay, we just had the winter solstice, but notice here every time it says during the, let me go back, let me see, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so this is the 3rd month here when it comes through the 6th portal, and it says, and it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal. It's talking about the sun, how it rises and sets in the 6th portal 31 mornings or 31 sunrises on account of its sign. What sign is that? That would be the summer solstice. Okay, now here he doesn't say on account of its sign, but there's a sign, and that sign is what we read in Jubilees chapter 2 verse 9, which, let me take you back over there again. And Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days and for Sabbath and for months and for feasts and for years. Now notice here where it talks about the Sabbath, okay, about the Sabbath day. And it says here, And he gave us a great sign, the Sabbath day, that we should work 6 days and keep the Sabbath on the seventh day from all work. And all the angels, or all the messengers of the presence, and all the messengers of the purifications, these two classes, he has hidden us to keep the Sabbath with him, meaning the Creator, in heaven. A lot of people don't know that, but the angels have been keeping Sabbath before Adam was created. They were keeping it in heaven, and they were keeping it on the earth. Okay, this is a beautiful teaching. When you go into this, it's marvelous. But so to take you back to the calendar, because of that sign called the equinox, this sign, Brother Bryant, the spring equinox happens everywhere on the earth twice a year, the spring equinox and the fall equinox, where the sun crosses the sky from the eastern horizon to the western horizon, and it casts a straight line shadow upon the earth. That's the great sign. Okay, and you can look these up: Psalms 19 verse 4, Ecclesiastes 7 verses 10 to 13, and then of course Exodus 12:2, where the Creator told Moses that this is the beginning of months for you of the year. Okay, and that's when they were getting ready to come out of Egypt. So all that being said, we know it's during the spring because, again, 14 days from the spring equinox, 14 days after the spring equinox is what we call the Passover. That's a spring festival. Okay, so the first day of the year is at the spring equinox. Now, the spring equinox, now don't get lost here what I'm getting ready to tell you, Bryant. The spring equinox is always going to occur on the fourth Yom, which is Yom in Hebrew is day, on the fourth day of the week. Okay, that fourth day of the week is not Wednesday. That is Yah's day. It can happen on a Friday. It can happen on a Sunday. It can happen on a Tuesday. What I'm getting at is the fourth day is a day to itself that Yah has given, not the Gregorian calendar weeks. Okay, so with that being said, long as you know that this is the fourth day when the spring equinox happens, then all you have to do is count 3 more days, and you have your first Shabbat of the year. And the first Shabbat of the year is always going to be the fourth day of the first month. So the first day of the year is going to be spring equinox. Then you have the second day, the third day, and then the fourth day is going to be the Shabbat. Okay. But through all of creation, first day, second day, third day, spring equinox is going to happen on the fourth day. Why is the spring equinox always going to occur on the fourth day? Because that's the day that Yah created the sun, moon, and the stars. He created it on the fourth day. And that is a sign. That is the beginning of the year. Yes, Katrina, equilux is different. Equilux has to do with equal day and equal night, but you won't get the same daylight and day-night, or I should say night cycle everywhere on the earth on the same day. The only thing on the earth that you get that is the same all over the earth is the equinox. It's the day when the sun crosses the horizon to the other horizon in a straight line. All the other days is going to be a bow. Why? Because it's circling over the earth. The sun is doing this pattern. The next time in the summer, when you go out early in the morning, notice that you'll see the sun rays are actually coming from the northeast and not directly west, because that is the highest point of the summer when the sun is up at its highest, at its zenith. And so it's coming back around, just like we was reading in Enoch. Let me take you back over there. You notice what Enoch says about the sun and what it's doing. Okay. Notice he says here, notice here it says, and so the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north. Now notice, we know that the sun rests in the west, right? It goes down in the west, but returns through the north in order to reach the east. So what is it saying? Now imagine this is a flat earth. I have my Mercator map here, which is my mouse pad, a big mouse pad. But Jerusalem is right here. And we're going to pretend that my mouse is the sun coming in from the east. So it's coming in from the east, okay? And now it's going to the west. But now, because the earth is flat and it's like a disc, it's going to continue to transverse all the way to the other side of the earth, going north. So from Jerusalem, it would be it'll be north of Jerusalem to come back to the east portal. So it'll come back here again, but it has to travel to the north to come back to the east. And that's what we're reading here in Enoch, when it says here, and the sun goes down from the heaven, which we know is the west, and returns through the north. So it has to go towards the north on the other side of the disk on the earth in order to reach the east. And so it's guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines on the face of the heaven. Okay. And it's the fourth portal that it's going to come through. All right. So that's why the Shabbat or the Sabbath is not always going to be on a Saturday, because again, the equinox is not going to always happen on the same day of the week, which is going to give you Sabbath to be on a Saturday. That Saturday, Saturn's day, which is a whole nother thing, and I can show you guys that here in a second. But Saturn's day is to the deity of Saturn, okay, which has a lot to do with Satyr. And you know who Satyr is? Satyr has to do with Satan, which is the he-goat, Baphomet, okay? So anyhow, the fourth day of the week, the sun is going to have this great sign. 3 days later, you have your Shabbat. No matter where you are on this earth, Bryant, if you so happen to find yourself somewhere out in the wilderness, and which is why this calendar is being revealed to us right now, because you can't keep the fourth commandment unless you know the calendar. It's the only way you're going to know the Shabbat. You won't know the Shabbat if you don't know the calendar. Because if you're following Romans calendar, which every Saturday, which is what these Jewish people, these Orthodox Jews are doing since they came out of Babylon, have been keeping, is wrong. It's erroneous. Okay. And they've given us a new date and a new week system. But the Creator has given us his system that is based on the sun. This is why he says that in Genesis. And nobody seems to be, well, I can't say nobody, because there's people like ourselves that are proving all of this now, and we're realizing that we've been duped. But this is why he says this about the fourth day in Genesis chapter 1. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for appointed times, which is where we get the word in Hebrew, ma'adim, or the feast days and days and years. Okay, that's what these lights were put up in the sky for. All right, but ask a person, a Jewish person, the curly lock Jews, the Orthodox Jews, why is Shabbat always on a Saturday? And show me how it's connected to the sun. They can't do it, because they're in a stagnant system called the Hillel calendar too, where they have 13 months every 3 years, unlike what the Creator says you're only supposed to have 12 months every year. Okay, and the calendar is supposed to be 364 days every year, not 354 days, which is the moon cycle. Just like some of these people that are calling themselves Torah observant, who are following a lunar solar cycle, and they say that it's based off of the moon. And so they go out there every moon cycle to see if they see a sliver of the moon on the western horizon, and then say, when they see the sliver of the moon, and say, oh, we're in a new month. It's the new month now. The new moon was sighted. But there is no new moon. That word new moon actually is Rosh Kadash, not Rosh Yirak. Yirak is moon in Hebrew. Kadash is where we get the word renewed. Okay, Rosh means head. So it's head of renew. What is the head of renew? Every month is the head of the renewed of the month. And that's why you see here, it doesn't say month. It doesn't say first moon. It says Kadash. Okay, they spell it with an E, but it should be Kadash is the actual pronunciation. First month. So if like this year that's coming up, if everything goes right, the spring equinox is going to happen on the pagan day, Thursday. So what happens? Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be the new, that's going to be the new Shabbat for the next 52 Shabbats until the next spring equinox. All right. And so that would be anytime again. So let's say if the spring equinox happens, and just pretend that these days are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay. And this, let's say it's Tuesday. So if this is the first, second, third, fourth day, that means that this would be the Shabbat. Okay. Because it's always going to be the fourth day of the first month. And for the next 52 Shabbats, it's all going to be on Friday. on the pagan day known as Friday until the next spring equinox. And this is how you find your Shabbat. You will never lose it. And again, I don't care where you live on this earth. The spring equinox is going to happen for you as it happens for someone in Australia, as it happens for somebody in South Africa, as it happens for somebody here in the United States. And the reason why we know this is because last year, myself, another brother, his name is Davison. He did it in South Africa. There was another brother, Ed, he lives in, I believe it's in Ohio or Indiana. He did it for himself over there. And then there was another sister over here in Moab, Utah, not too far from me. She did it over there as I did it over here. And then there was another one either in New Zealand or Australia. And we all saw it at our own times because, again, the sun has to come around. But it was a straight line for everybody. Everybody had a straight line. So, again, it's the only sign. And Yah did that on purpose. He did it on purpose. So no matter where you live on this earth, you will be able to track the sun using a stick in the ground, also known as a sundial, for you to be able to know where you are on Yah's calendar. And you won't be off more than 91 days because every 91 days is another sign on the earth, be it the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, or the winter solstice. They happen 91 days apart from each other. No, Yahuwah wins has nothing to do with the moon, and this is why so many people are lost as to the actual calendar. And again, let me take you to the book of Jubilees, chapter 6, about why we do not use the moon. Let me show you here. Okay, let me bring this down. Oh, let me plug in my phone. It's dropping down so fast. I noticed that when I am on live using my camera and everything, boy, it eats up my battery on my phone. Okay, so Jubilees chapter 6, verse 36. I got a little latency going on. Hopefully you guys can see me and hear me okay. And it says, "For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and how it comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the set apart day with the unclean, and the unclean day with the set apart. For they will go wrong as to months." Notice that. This is why you can't use the moon for your months, because you're going to go wrong as to your months by using the moon. You're going to go wrong as to your Sabbaths. You're going to go wrong as to all your feast days in Leviticus chapter 23. And you're going to go wrong to your 50-day or 50-year cycles that we're told about in Leviticus chapter 25 for the Yobalim. So he says, "For this reason, and I command and testify to you that you may testify to them, for after your death," speaking of Moses' death, "your children," talking about the children of Israel, "will disturb them." Here's a prophecy. He's telling them a prophecy of what's going to happen, "so that they will not make the year 364 days only." Why? Because we're making it 365 and a quarter. "And for this reason, they will go wrong as to new months and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh." And this is why we have to stay to what Yahuwah has called us to do. And so this is why my wife and I, we sell these things called calendar beads. Brother Ed was the first one to make one of these, and then we just took it and started making it ourselves. And now we sell this for people who can afford it. And if you can't, we can't do it for everyone. But when we have the money and everything to do so, we don't mind sending it out for free to those who can't afford it. But for those of you who are able-bodied and can just pay $20, because that's all we're asking for is $20. And literally, we're not making any money. I mean, we're using gas to go to the post office. We're paying for the shipping and we're paying for the material to make it. Not to mention my wife spends hours making each one of these. So, well, not hours, but it takes her about an hour and a half to make each one of these. So this is the calendar bead, is what we call it. The Enoch Zadok calendar. And what we have is, you see here that I have a tie off here and a tie down. And each one of these is a month. And there's 12 months. And they're separated by 3. You see these beads up here. Those are for the seasons. So you see here, we have the spring months, the summer months, the fall months, and the winter months. So right now we're in the winter months, and you see where the tie down is here. We're in the 10th month right now, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're on the 14th day. And let me go over here. If I did this correctly, we go to the 10th month, and we look on, let me keep my charger on so I don't kill my battery. So here it is, the 10th. Let me bring this. The 10th month, or Kadash 10. And you'll see here the 14th day, the big 14 right there. And you see that it says 31st of December. Okay. And so that's how we keep our days. And it has everything here. So you'll see all the white ones represent on this calendar, because we have them in different colors. All the white ones represent special days or high days, and all the blue days are just regular days, and all the gold beads are the 52 Sabbaths a year. Okay, so every Shabbat you'll see here all 52 of them in a year. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Shabbats left to the beginning of the year. All right. Now, any one of you who would like one of these, just DM me and we'll do the process and get you going. We still have some we're supposed to be sending off. There's other ones that I know that hasn't reached some of you yet because of the time of the year with all these pagan packages that are all over the place. So just be patient. You should be getting it here very soon. Let's see who's that there. Della, you said, Brother Jimmy, have mine been sent because they haven't arrived? I don't know, Della. I'd have to look because, like I said, we have a bunch of them that are going out here in the next week. So yours might either be there or yours might have already went out, and it's just taking its time because of the snail mail process with everything that's going on. You know, the U.S. Postal Service, they're not like Amazon and UPS and all of them, so it's going to take a minute. But it will get to you. And if it doesn't, just let me know, and we'll send another one out to you if it didn't get to you. Alrighty. Yes, Loretta, just contact me and we'll start taking care of that. That's right, Lester. They've been doing some crazy stuff. Yes, pay stuff. Yes, pay Sunday, Shabbat. What's that? I would like a calendar. Yes, check all of you. Like I said, if there is any of you who wish to have a calendar, a beaded calendar, just DM me and then we'll start the process from there. Okay. Haki Katan. No, I probably butchered your name. There is no such thing as a 13th month. I know that the Ethiopians, they do that, and also those of the Hillel 2 calendar, they do that every 3 years. Why? Because again, they're going to be short 10 days every year, and so those 3 years is going to make up 30 days, and so they have to attach it to the end of the 3rd year, and hence why they have a 13th month every 3 years. That is not according to the scripture. You won't find a 13th month anywhere in scripture. That is a man-made device and man-made custom and culture that they got from Babylon. That is not what we've been given. Just like there's 12 months in a year, you have 12 tribes, you have the 12 sons of Israel, you have the 12 disciples, you got the 12 fruits that are yielded every month in the book of Revelation. Yah uses numbers, and he will not use a 13 other than that there are 13 weeks for every season. The 13 weeks is 90 weeks, 91 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 That's the 52 weeks or 52 Shabbats. But there is no such thing as a 13th. Such thing as a 13th. Again, Hakitan, we do not follow this 28-day cycle. The 28-day cycle of doing the 7 times 4 thing is not from Yah. Yah says that his days are 30-day months. And I can show you again right here out of the book of Enoch. And I can show you in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, where it says 1,290 days in the book of Daniel, 1,260 days in the book of Revelation equals out to divisible by 30 days. One is 43 months in the book of Daniel, and the other one's 42 months in the book of Revelation. And again, those are the 30-day months. And I can show you again here in Enoch. Enoch talks about the months, and the only ones that have more than one day is only because it's a count of its sign. But every month is 30 days, not more, not less. Okay. And so here you see that. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll just show you here. And when the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out through the 4th portal 30 mornings or 30 sunrises in succession and sets accurately in the 4th portal. That is your first month of the year. The second month of the year, and it says again, and the sun rises from the 4th portal and sets in the 4th and returns to the 5th portal of the east 30 mornings or 30 sunrises, and from it and sets in the 5th. Okay. Now the 3rd month of the year has 31 days. Okay. Why? Because a count of its sign. That's why it says that there. It says this, and it returns to the east and enters the 6th portal and rises and sets in the 6th portal 31 mornings or sunrises on account of its sign. Then you see again 31 mornings, 30 mornings, 30 mornings, 31 mornings on account of its sign. Why? Because of the autumn equinox. Then it goes again, 30 mornings, 30 mornings. And then it says 31 mornings. Why? Because again, on the account of its sign, it's the winter solstice. Then you have 30 mornings, 30 mornings. And then it says again, 31 mornings. Why? Because of spring equinox on account of its sign. So the year is exactly 364 days. Now divide 364 by 7 and see what you get. You get 52 Shabbats exactly. Okay. Not 7 times 4, because that doesn't give you what you're supposed to have. What you'll find out is if you do it that way, you're going to see that it's more towards the lunar cycle, and you're going to find that it's going to be 354 days. And so the 354 days, which is 10 days shorter than 364 days, which is the reason why the book of Jubilees say that they will be 10 days too short. And this is why it says this. It says, for there will be those of you who will surely make observations of the moon, when they're not supposed to be making observations of the moon, how it disturbs the season and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. 354. That's where you get the whole 728, 7 times 428 kind of deal. You're not supposed to do that. And so we're also told in the book of Enoch that the prophetical year is 360. This is why when you read in the book of Daniel, in the book of Revelation, where it says it'll be times in half a time, or 1,260 days, or 3.5 years. That's 1,260 days without the 4 extra days. Okay. The 4 extra days, it tells you here in the book of Enoch, chapter 75, for this reason, and the leaders of the heads of the thousands are placed over the whole creation, over all the stars, have also to do with the 4 intercalary days, being inseparable from their office, according to the reckoning of the year. And these render service on 4 days, which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year or the counting of the year. Why is that? Because now let me take you to Daniel chapter 12. And again, family, this is why we do this, so that none of us Yes, again, Hakitana, I don't know why you're trying to be such hard-headed. I'm showing you through scripture, and you're not seeing anything that talks about a 13th month, my friend. That 13th month only happens once a year, where you can do that every 3 years, and that is called the Hillel 2 calendar. We do not follow that. That is the creation of man. That is not the creation of Yah. Okay, and man got it from Satan. That's why there was 13 colonies, 13 stars, 13 stripes. Who do you think created this Christian country called Christianity of the United Snakes of America? Satan. It's the number of Satan. That's why you don't see people using the number 13. That is a number for the secret societies. And who do the secret societies follow? Satan. And who is Satan? Baphomet. Who is Baphomet? Satyr. And who's Satyr? The same one that you call the he-goat. So again, we don't use the number 13. It is exactly what they say when they use the so-called bad day that they call Friday the 13th. That's their number. That's their date. But anyhow, if you're still wanting to listen and not be so argumentative, I'd like to show you what it says in Daniel. Okay. And in the book of Daniel, it says this. Daniel chapter 12. First, let me go to Daniel chapter 7, where it talks about the day, time, times, and half a time. Okay, let me see if I can remember exactly where it is here. 725. Yeah, 725. Okay. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. JP, I'm not sure either, but again, when you're showing somebody something over and over again, I'm just trying to get Hakitan to see this. I understand where you're coming from, but I also want you to see what I'm showing you. I understand what you're saying. I've seen the numbers. I've heard the arguments, but I need you to see what I'm trying to show you so you can see from the spiritual, scriptural standpoint why there is no 13th month. Okay? And so this is what I'm saying. If you would allow me to, I would like to show you what it says in the scripture. I understand that. But again, you're using the 13, and what happens is every 3 years, there's an extra 10 days every year. And if you know the Hillel 2 calendar, that's when they bring in the 13th month. They don't do 13th month every year. Nobody keeps a 13th month every year. So again, here it says, and it shall and it intends to change appointed times and law, and there are given into his hand time, times, and half a time. Okay. That time, times, and half a time is 3.5 years. Why do we know this, or how do we know this? So now if we go to Daniel chapter 12, we also see here where it talks about, and from the time that which is continual is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is set up, is 1,290 days. 1,290 days equals to 43 months. It's divisible by 30. So this is talking about literally 43 months, okay? Where those 4 days that I showed you in Enoch chapter 75 is not reckoned according to a year, or the counting of the year. This is what it's talking about, what we call a prophetic year. Let's go to Revelation, where it talks about the same thing. And here in Revelation chapter 12, it says here, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she shall be placed and prepared by Elohim to be nourished there for 1,260 days, which is 1,260 equals 42 months, divisible by 30. Okay. Same thing here. The same woman where she'll be nourished for the 1,260 days in the wilderness. It says here, and the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for time and times, plural, and half a time. That equals out to 42 months, which is 3.5 years. Same thing here. And it says that the anti-Messiah, he was given a mouth speaking great matters of blasphemies, and he was given authority to do so for 42 months, also known as 3.5 years. All right. So again, scripture is very adamant that Yah uses 30 days for a month, not 28, Not because it 7 times 4. Yes, the math doesn't lie when you do a 7 times 4. But again, his months are not 7 times 4. His months is 30 days. And he tells you that his year is 364 days only. So 364 divided by 7 gives you 52 Shabbats. So going back to, and I don't even know if our brother Bryant is still here because we kind of went off the subject. Bryant, are you still here, my friend? Trying to learn about where's the true Shabbat? JP, I do not at this time. But I would tell you to either come back and, we do talk about this a lot on here. But probably in the future, I will probably have something when I just run down to you about the calendar. See, I knew, again, you can just feel it. It just happens that way. Thank you, Nazareth. Some people just don't want to, they say they want to play nice, but they don't play nice. And again, we're not here to argue with anybody. I'm not raising my voice at you. I'm not doing anything to disturb you in any way, Hakitan. But when you start disturbing and disrupting and you're not trying to listen, then yeah, we're going to do what we have to do, my friend. Yes, Sarah, I know all about the turtle shell having those 13 marks on the back. Yeah. Thank you, Brother Lester. And I definitely got that over trial and error and finding out that, being hot-headed doesn't get you anywhere when you're trying to make a point. You might hear me raise my voice when I'm sharing something from Scripture because I get excited and I'm, bringing a point across. But when I'm having dialogue with somebody, I don't really like to be yelling at them or anything like that. I just like to share the word. Exactly, always, Jacques. Is the turtle shells in Scripture? No, it's not. But again, there's people that have their reasons why they like to say 13 months is this. And just like, and I'm sure all you guys saw this thing about this is the old Bible that has 13 months in it. And they didn't want you to know about the 13 months, so they kept it. Come on, you guys, stop falling for everything that you see that comes across your app that says this or says that, just like someone talking about, oh, did you know your map is upside down? And Enoch said it was this. Look, I just read from Enoch and he's telling you that the great portal on the east is where the sun rises. Okay. And we know when we go out our door, and if you wake up early enough and you're not lazy and you look up over at the east, what is called the eastern horizon, come around 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to start seeing the sun rays starting to come up over the eastern horizon. Oh, yeah, JP, no doubt. I didn't get it in my first time. No doubt. Of course, people are going to have questions. Let's see. Oh, I just lost it there. Okay, unique upholstery. Brother Jimmy Shalom, where we get 365 and 366 so-called leap year. Okay, unique. So that has to do with the cycle of the sun. The solar cycle and the solar calendar are two different things. As you saw me read earlier about in 4 days only. Okay, but the solar cycle is 365 and a quarter. Now, every 4 years, we're going to have what is called a leap year. And we know that to be true because, again, the sign of the sun is what we're basing everything off of, not a turtle shell. We're not going off of math. We're going off of the sun. Okay, just like it says in Jubilees chapter 2, verse 9, that he had appointed the sun, not the turtle shell and not math. All right, math is going to equate to what he's telling us to do. But again, he says the sun is what we use. Now, the sun comes up And it has a 366 day every 4-year cycle. And we know this because the spring equinox isn't going to come up for 2 days after we've counted for 364 days. So those 2 days we do not count. We observe those 2 days because we're living it and we know that they're there, but the great sign upon the earth doesn't happen for 2 days every 4 years. And when that sun comes up, we know, and it goes across the sky in a straight line, we know that to be the spring equinox. Hence, it's the first day of the year. And we connect ourselves with that first day of the year. And 3 days later, after that first day of the year, which is the 4th day of the month, that is our first Shabbat. And so what happens is every 4 years, you're going to have an extra day. And this is how we know how to keep the calendar. And this is why he tells us in Jubilees chapter 6 a couple of times, but here it says here, so that they will not keep the year 364 days only. Okay, it has to be a 364 day count only, because that's what Yah wants from us. And we know that Yah does everything in numbers, just like there's 7 days in a week. Okay, there's going to be 52 Sabbaths in a year. He told us to have 364 days in our counted year. Those 2 other days are not for us to count. That is the solar cycle. He doesn't want us to count those days. And so the way that Yah has created the calendar, from my understanding and observation, is that it's not stagnant. It's that we are to do what he has called us to do, because everything he creates has motion and movement. It's not stagnant like the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is stagnant. Also, so let me show you what this whole Saturn's thing is all about, okay? And this is going to show you guys, this is going to tell you guys a lot about why Saturday has become the so-called choice of the Sabbath. Let me see if I can recall where I put this picture. In fact, since I don't know where it is, let me go ahead and just pull this up here. Hold on one second. Let me see here. Let me pull this up. All right, we put images of Saturn. All right, so now for those of you who've never seen images of Saturn, let me show you. There's one particular one I want you to see. And of course, all this is CGI, but this one here is probably the closest I can show here. Let me see if I can blow that up. Okay, do you see that on the top of Saturn? Does anybody know what would fit into that hexagonal shape? This is supposed to be, yeah, it's a hexagon. But what would fit into that hexagonal shape at the top of this Saturn? Yes, exactly, Moya, also known as the Star of Ranfan. Okay. Yeah, son, that would be a cube in a 3D dimension, yes. But the Star of Ranfan is the 6-pointed star used by the Jewish people. This is why they call Saturn the Sabbath day. You starting to see it now? This is the depth of Satan, the knowledge of Satan. This is what they're doing. Regardless if that's a CGI or not, this is why they call Saturn, Saturn, and they use Saturn as their Sabbath. Yes, for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Adam, for being on top of that, because I sure do be forgetting. But yes, but that's what they do. Yes, the Star of David is false. You won't find that anywhere in Scripture, Tracy. That is the Star of Ranfan. In fact, if you of that star, the 6-pointed star, let me show you something here also. Let me pull this one up so you guys can see. Again, when you think of Babylon, and we all call this country Babylon, but I don't think people really know how Babylonian it is. So let's look at the back of the dollar bill. Again, for entertainment purposes only. Okay. I want you all to see this. Do you see the star Iran fan anywhere above this eagle? You see it there? There it is right there. And guess how many stars are inside that star? You want to count it with me? Let's count it. Let's blow it up a little bit more. Let's blow this thing up. Let's count it. Yes, Yahusha, disciple. 13. Again, Satan's number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's your star Iran fan, your Star of David. Do you know how long this has been part of the United Snakes of America? Entertainment purposes only. That is called the Great Seal of the United States. And the first time that was put together, I believe, was in 1784. That should tell you the people who are running that place over there in the Middle East are the same people who's been running this country since the very beginning. Entertainment purposes only, TikTok. Only entertainment purposes only. This is why I said when I started looking into this stuff when I was younger, I started realizing there's something going on with Christianity and I couldn't understand what it was. But this is what is happening. Yeah, well, those same people are the same ones who run the news, right? Entertainment purposes only. It's the same ones. Exactly, Victoria. They run every facet of our Western society. And if you say anything about them or do anything against them, you're going to have so-called HELL to pay. You're going to have to kiss the ring if you want to be let back in. But these are the same people, entertainment purposes only, TikTok, that are going to be beheading people, entertainment purposes only. And so they don't like people like us. They don't like people like us coming to this knowledge and that we understand what is going on, because the wool is no longer over our eyes. They got everybody else asleep. And this is why they like to call us goyim. Okay. Goyim means cattle. So again, you guys see why Shabbat is not the Sabbath. Yah is not going to use Saturn's day as Shabbat forever. That is not his day. That is Satan's day. He has created a stagnant week, and he used Saturday. And this is the level of the deception, right? So they got the Christians thinking that, oh, you changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. That's one layer. Okay, that they lied. The second layer is Saturday isn't even the true Sabbath. That's the second layer, and there's probably another layer of that lie. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I know there's at least 2 layers to that lie about Saturday being the Sabbath. Oh yeah, people are probably wondering why, right? Yes, exactly, Yiska. All those there's 13 all over it. There is 13 all over it. In fact, let me move it over to the other side here. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find. Hold on one second. Let me look for this thing here. I know they have it. Hold on one segundo. Let me see if I can go back. Let's see if TikTok is taking it down. Dollar bill. Let me see if they have it here. They still got it. Wow. Okay, let me show you guys this. Let me see which one's the cleanest one. I think this is the cleanest. Okay, let me show you guys this. This is another depth of Satan, okay? Some of you probably seen this before. I don't know, but I'm going to show you. So this is the other side of the Great Seal. So the Great Seal is a coin. Entertainment purposes only. MASON. Yeah, exactly. So this is on one side of the bill. And then if you look at the other side of the bill is where you have the eagle. So this is the back side of the bill, which is the pyramid, and the front side of the coin, which would be the eagle. So that's the Great Seal of the United States. And it says what it's saying: Annuit Coceptus Novus Orderos Lacorum. So we know that this means new order of the ages, or the new order of the world, which is where people get the words secular or slacorum. And then Annuit Coceptus is, what is it, if I remember correctly? All this is Latin, by the way, Roman. This is all Roman wording. Exactly, Becky. I think this one, Annuus Coceptus, is something about he, how does it say it? He approves of our new world order or something like that. I can't remember exactly how the top part is. Our undertaking or something like that. He agrees with our undertaking or something like that. You'd have to look it up in Latin. But it means something to that effect. So again, this country has got a lot of issues, a whole lot of. So again, this would be the front of the coin, and this would be the back of the coin, or this would be the back of the coin, or the front of the coin, and this would be the back of the coin. But those are the two sides of the coins right there, the seal. No, the star might not be even, but again, it's letting you know that it lines up with what they're trying to tell you who is running this thing. And some of them, that's the way they did that there. That's kind of that way. But here's another one and how they did theirs. You know, the fact of the matter is a triangle on top of a triangle, and it's a Star Iran fan.